The mystery of awakening, afloat in the flay. Neo had heard many rumors in her village about this river, that it had taken children and women alike who had come to claim its rushing water for themselves, leaving behind discarded items, rubbish and the like. The water spirits, nymphs and sylphs who lived there held stories of many lives lost due to neglect by the villagers. And still, mothers, grandmothers, and girl children went there daily to collect drinking water and to wash clothes, but rarely alone. Yet Neo wasn't one to believe in rumors, neither was she easily frightened. She'd gone to the river alone to collect water almost daily since she was a child, and now at almost 18 years old, she knew this river. She trusted its power and demand for respect. On this day, its movement was calm. It even shone a mirror, reflecting the expansive cobalt blue sky overhead. Neo leaned closer and noticed how it darkened as it grew deep. She stuck her feet in to feel its cool against her ankles. They had been aching all morning, and the long walk to the river did more harm than help. Enjoying her reflection and full of courage and confidence, stooping low, Neo placed her palms on the earth, readying to sit, and slowly breathed in. The soles of her feet felt magnetic. Her calves ached, a typical morning discomfort she'd grown used to and accepted as normal. Steadying her stance, she bent downward with both hands flat on the ground. Bum high in the air, soles of her feet pressed hard into the wet river earth. Leaning over to cup a handful of water, Neo toppled into the river, head over feet. Before she realized it, she was fully submerged, tumbling, struggling to hold her breath. She grabbed and fought to the river's edge, trying to get out, heart racing, tasting soil, plants, and fear. She struggled. Growing tired, Neo resisted giving up. But never having learned to swim, fear came whispering, "Let go and this will be the end of you." When Neo woke, she found herself lying near the edge of a different water body. It was wide and still, black, cool, deep. It glistened with a luminescent gold. Neo seemed to float all the way to the edge and to be lifted, placed gently onto shore. Her dress soiled and wet, hair a mess, and full of unfamiliar leaves and twigs. She lay on her back, breathing normally, not afraid. Hearing the faint call of a somewhat familiar bird song, Neo exhaled deeply and sharpened her gaze above her head. She felt warm. Counting all toes and fingers, she breathed in, deeper still. Her heart raced, its drumming rhythm sounding like an old clock. It echoed into the trees above her head. Plucking strange leaves from her hair, Neo caught sight of what she thought were 3 women on the other side of the water body, some distance from where she lay. Pushing herself upright to see more clearly, a timelessness washed over Neo, filling her with light. "Yo, maybe I'm dreaming," she queried out loud. "Not quite a dream," a voice and answer returned. But from where, thought Neo? The voice had the familiar texture of red clay from her village, a certain but not fixed form yielding to its environment. Neo looked towards the trees overhead and saw 1,000 branches, looking as if leaning into eternity. She didn't recognize these trees. Just then, a swarm of bees escaped the tree, their hum and buzz, a weak song which contradicted their uniform. They appeared to Neo to be one large bee, which settled on a small bush at the water body's edge. Their queen flew straight at Neo's head and began to speak. Was it her voice that Neo just heard? "You've traveled a long distance, we can see," she buzzed. The color and tone of the voice a tarnished bronze, with a texture rough and flaky, revealing age and fatigue. "You, my dear, look more than hungry," Neo wondered how she could hear the sad, apologetic voice of this bee. "Haibo, I must be dreaming," she again demanded out loud. Ignoring Neo's plea and sounding a bit defensive, the bee answered, "We are faced with an unnatural problem." The others joined her again, forming what appeared to Neo as one gigantic but solitary bee. "We've only just come to know who we actually are in the face of this challenge, when before now we felt ourselves on the path to greatness." And with that, they vanished. Neo again looked in the distance across the flay, toward where she'd seen the old woman. In fact, she was actually quite hungry, famished. Realizing she was quite far away from her village, with its thicket scrub and brush, rushing rivers, green rolling hills, and sugarcane fields, she began to feel a bit faint. "I must be dreaming," she negotiated with herself as she turned to walk toward the old women. "I will go to them. Those women will surely help me find my way back to my village." "Do you think you're the only creature on earth who's hungry?" Neo heard as she turned to walk towards the old women. "I've been following these bees all morning, looking for my sustenance, and then you appeared, out of nowhere," said a small pink-billed bird, which had suddenly perched on Neo's shoulder. "So now how am I supposed to feed my chicks? You must help me," he demanded. And with that, he too took flight, leaving Neo standing in place, curious and confused. The sun was busy rising high into the day, and not only was Neo growing more hungry and hot, her skin was beginning to burn. She wasn't dressed or prepared for the scorching heat of the midday sun in this unknown place. She looked for plants lining the water body's edge, desperately searching for the burned jelly plant that Ugogo used to send her to harvest along the riverbanks near her village in summer. Realizing that she was alone and possibly in real trouble, Neo sat at the edge of the water body and began to cry. As her tears puddled into her lap, she began to see a face appear, and it wasn't her own. At first she thought it might have been her imagination, but she soon realized it was the face of a young girl, white skin, red hair, also with the unrecognizable leaves and twigs nested in it. Neo knew it wasn't her own reflection. It stopped her tears, which was a good thing, but also bad. As her skirt dried in the scorching heat, the image of the girl disappeared. Standing once again, she began to walk towards the other side of the water body, hoping to reach the old woman. I am having the worst day," she said aloud. "I can't remember my way home, and I have nothing to eat, Tangas. What must I do?" She mumbled to herself as she walked. Soon, from the corner of her eye, she could see that both the bird and the large formation of bees seemed to be following right behind her. Catching them with a quick turn of her head, Neo realized it was their voices she'd heard earlier, and now they seemed to be arguing about something. Figuring they could hear her just as she could hear them, she decided to join them. "Why are you following me?" she asked. "And how is it that I can hear you speaking, arguing? Birds, bees, you don't speak. What is this place? Where am I?" said the bird. "Well, I was hungry," he continued. "Don't continue to bother me with demands for retelling all the details. I was hungry. Simple. Still am. I did exactly what I was meant to do from the beginning." With this, he turned toward the bee formation, apparently speaking to its queen. "I dropped both worms when you floated past me just over there, above the hills. There. You gave me such a fright. I kept my part of the deal. You must ask her what happened. What went wrong with the plan?" He gestured towards the queen bee, clearly agitated. Neo seemed to have lost pace. The faster she walked, it seemed the old women were further away, not closer. The queen bee replied sadly. "In fact, it was after she'd fallen into the river that the plan went awry. This, I'll tell you, we weren't expecting. She clearly has a mind of her own. lamented the queen bee. Well, I gave her a lift, argued the bird. Yes, on my wings, my back aching from the lack of a substantive morning meal. This dreary girl, she flounced about as if on a carousel, my wings flapping against the highlands' thin air. I saw this body of water and made my way to land here with her, as you instructed. Now show me the honey. I require my payment, squawked the bird. Hamba! All of you! Leave me! Nao shouted. Unless you can help me reach the other side of this flay, I don't want to be followed or disturbed anymore. The bee darted off in front of her with an attempt to slow her pace. My dear, you mustn't go that way. You simply won't reach those women. You are very far away from home. Let us help to show you the way, reasoned the queen bee. Lalel, I am not going to follow a swarm of bees. I am not mad, or maybe I am, but I... She trailed off. Nao, said the queen bee, you didn't drown. You arrived here, safe, unharmed, and we are here to help you get back home. Just then, the thick green bush that had lined the path began to wriggle and dance, attracting her attention. Nao moved closer, noticing there was no wind, nothing making the bush dance. It moved on its own. Hi, Nao said under her breath. This just cannot be. What do you all want from me? She called out, head tilting to the sky, arms waving about her, feet stamping into the red earth. Mina, I just want to go home. Ugogo is expecting the water that I was sent to fetch. I want to go home. Nao felt tears beginning to stain her face again, but this time they stung like a burn. Aish! She exclaimed, my face! And with that, the bush whispered, take hold of me. I am a friend, Balbeen. I am like light made calm, cool and protective. I can soothe your skin, said Balbeen. We are all here to help you, if you let us. Balbeen outstretched his frond toward Nao, its luminescent green inviting her to touch, to smell, and then take a piece of it into her hands. That's it, Balbeen whispered. Peel back my thin skin and use the jelly inside to cool and protect your face, hands, arms, legs, and feet. And do keep what's left. Put it into your pocket in case your stomach begins to feel ill. I can help you on the inside as well. With that, Nao felt a calmness arrive. She did as she was offered and immediately felt a coolness as well. When she finished applying Balbeen to her skin, she put the remaining pieces into her skirt pocket and felt something in there. Something she didn't remember being there before now. Taking it from her pocket, she opened a folded piece of paper to reveal a map.